We are here today at Pond Dakota Mission Park, standing in our restored native prairie oak savanna area. And this park and this area is one of the trailhead areas to the Minnesota River Valley Bluff Trail. It's about a 1.7 mile trail that goes a little bit farther up on the bluff. The trail historically was an important transportation corridor for the Dakota people who lived in the valley, and later for white settlers settling Bloomington to be able to move up and down the Minnesota River Valley. The Minnesota River Valley Bluff Trail can be accessed from 5 main points by the general public, so it's got a lot of ways that it can be accessed. Starting from the west, Lindale Avenue down by the boat launch area, both the Minnesota River Trail and the Bluff Trail can be accessed. And then Hopkins Road has an access point, as does Pond Dakota Mission Park and Parker's Picnic Grounds, and then Mound Springs Park farther to the east. But people can then link up with other trails that extend into the Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge. All of those have areas where you can park, walk on down a short trail to get to the main Bluff Trail. The Minnesota River Valley Bluff Trail is a dirt single-track trail that is pretty popular with mountain bikers these days. You see quite a few when you come out here. But it is important to note that it is a multi-use trail, so suitable for mountain bikers, walkers, dog walkers, and anybody who just wants to enjoy a great trail experience.
I love the ease of access, and then I also like just the nature. Being able to come out here and enjoy it, that's one of the best things. And it's so close to Bloomington or the cities, yet, do you hear it? No. That's why I love it.
Here we are standing right along the banks of Big Brook, which is a spring-fed creek that runs down the west side of Pond Dakota Mission Park. It's one of many natural spring areas in the Bloomington section of the Minnesota River Valley, and is one of the really pristine areas in the valley with a lot of interesting vegetation growing alongside it. So interestingly, Big Brook is a stream that stays open all year round. This is an example of what would have been a really important water source historically for the Dakota, but also for later settlers such as Gideon Pond, who lived straight up the hill. So back when it was just the Dakota people living in the valley, you would have had a much more sparse landscape in terms of the trees around. So what we're trying to do is reintroduce a more native landscape. This is an example of one of those areas that we've been working on for quite a few years. You can see that the canopy's opened up, and if you look around, you see a lot of prairie plants. Many flowers are starting to kind of repopulate the area, and a really nice stand of oak trees here as well. So this is one of many projects that we've done in the valley over the last decade or so. And this is a great spot where you can stop when you're on the Bluff Trail to check out and see what one of our restoration efforts looks like, and also kind of get a feel for what the landscape would have looked like more if you came here 160 years ago. And we encourage anybody that hasn't been back in the Minnesota River Valley to check it out. Again, 1.7 miles, not that long of a distance, but it takes you some of the most beautiful, pristine areas of Bloomington, and actually through many of the most important natural areas that Bloomington features.